What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Career Mode. This is episode number 19, and today we are returning with a brand new season as our second year at Bramwell Lane is about to get underway. Before we do dive into the new season, a brief run through of the final things in Season 1. First player of the competition in Season 1 was Mohamed Salah, and he also won the Golden Boot as well. He also featured in Team of the Year, as did a load of other Spurs and Liverpool players. Only one non-Spurs and Liverpool player featured in that Team of the Season, and that was the goalkeeper Kepa from Chelsea. Although he didn't win the Golden Glove, that was Alisson from Liverpool. And also, for those that watched the end of season special, in the last episode, you would have seen there was a European Championships and also a Copa America this year. The Copa America was won by Argentina, as Messi finally captured a Copa America or a World Cup. So I've said before, I'd love to see Messi win a Copa America or a World Cup before he retires. That would be amazing. And also Spain were European Championship winners in 2020. Also, we did have a lot of players in their deals up come the end of the year as well. So loads of players leaving on free transfers. No real noteworthy departures apart from Phil Jagielka, who of course you guys knew about, is Otto Borussia Mönchengladbach, and of course our two loan players are going back to their parent clubs for season 2. Those are Dean Henderson and also Mohamed Besic of Manchester United and Everton respectively. But still, that was that. The end of the season is done, and we are now going to begin season 2 with Sheffield United. Real briefly before we dive into it, I do want to say that the support in season 1 was amazing. Thank you all so much for that. So I'm really hopeful you guys are going to enjoy season 2 as well. I think it's going to be amazing, and for a big reason as to why. That is too. Now we started off by declining the pre-season tournament invite. You might wonder why I did that. It's because I want to dive straight into the transfers and then into the regular season as well. You can see the teams got promoted from last season. Stoke City were the team that won the playoffs last year, and as we now check out the transfer budget for season 2, our budget is £17.49 million. That's not £70.4 million, that's 17.4 million pounds. I believe it's only slightly better, and I mean slightly better, than last season. The board have basically given us no money to spend for season 2. And, you know, yesterday I tweeted about this and I said it was a scary budget to receive, and it is. I mean, the good thing is that obviously, you know, it keeps it quite realistic, because I don't want to be spending like £80 million in season 2 and bringing in some amazing players. So I'm kind of glad in that case it is still quite realistic. But I was thinking better than 17 million. I thought we'd get more than 17 million. We got basically no money to spend whatsoever for a second straight year. So we are going to really have to make sure that we make our money count this year. We've got to make sure we spend our pennies wisely. Our objectives for the year are to finish a mid-table in the Premier League like we did last year, and it also reached around the 32 stage, the FA Cup. Of course, last year reached around the 16 before being knocked out by Leicester City. So the league objective has increased. We also got to reduce player wages by 45 grand a week as well. With the money we've got, well, I don't think we'll be selling any players, because obviously we released so many players last year. You see Ben Foster does come on a free transfer. He's not going to retire at the end of the season, it seems, despite now being 37 years old, but he's 77 rated now. And of course, I know Dean Henderson, he might well be our number 1 this year. You know, we've got very little players here with Sheffield United for season 2, because we released so many players at the end of the season who simply put weren't good enough. I was thinking we'd probably, you know, sign about 6-7 players in season 2. I don't think we can afford to sign 6 or 7 players in season 2. We haven't got the cash. So this is our squad heading in to our second season, and you know, I've got to be honest, there is very little depth to this team, and basically no quality in depth either. The first 11 is good. It's basically the exact same as last year, with of course the exception of Foster now coming in for Henderson, who's gone back to Manchester United from his loan spell. You know, and that's about it. The first team, I would say, is exactly the same, but when you get into the reserves of this team, past the bench, there's basically nobody whatsoever who has got any kind of quality. You see the players that have got just 1 year left on their deal. The noteworthy ones there are John Fleck and of course the captain Oliver Nord, who will give contract extensions to at some point this season. But yeah, there's confirmation here. The first 11 is the same heading into season 2. The bench is basically the same as well. And when you look at the reserves, well, it's just a bunch of kids, really. Like, there is very little quality outside of the first 11 with this Sheffield United team. So if you were thinking that season 2 was going to become unrealistic and we were going to start signing, you know, some very great European players that could easily perform at the Champions League level, think again. Absolutely no way. This is going to be another season of struggle. And I looked at my transfer shortlist after receiving that budget, £17 million, and I thought, do you know what? We could probably afford to buy 1 one, possibly two of these players at most. And if you remember at the end of last season, I was talking about James Ward-Prowse in the last episode, and Wesley from Southampton, Aston Villa, and I was saying, oh, I love these guys in my team, you know, going down to the Championship, they'll want to be back in the top flight, we might have to spend our entire budget to get them. Sod that. I mean, I said we'd have to break the bank to get these guys. We'd have to literally rob a bank in order to afford James Ward-Prowse and Wesley for season 2. We've got no money. We've got very little money once again, and we're going to have to be very smart of our transfer business for season 2 if we are to avoid relegation, because the teams around us are going to get stronger. They'll have the cash to spend. They won't have our sort of budget. They'll have a lot more money, whereas for us, we'll have nothing. So with a lack of depth to this team, I thought, well, there's only one way I can really put depth to this team without spending any real money, and that was to promote players to the senior team from our youth squad. So you'll see I promoted 4 players from the academy into our senior team. Basically, I just looked at the best prospects we've got here and gave them pro deals. One was Ollie Hull, a 17-year-old, 57 rated central defensive midfielder at 6'1", and he can play central midfield and centre back as well. So I like the versatility on him. Niall Fitzpatrick, who shows great potential, one of our better academy prospects. An LM that can also play CM, 5-star weak foot, really like that, and 62 rated at 16 years old as well. Alfie Lee's only 54 overall, can play CM and also defensive mid as well. So I doubt this guy will feature much, if at all, this season, but at least he had some depth to our team. He's pretty quick off the mark as well, I noticed, with some good ball control too, despite the poor overall. And also Angus Reid, a Scottish centre forward, can also play striker. He also shows great potential. He's got a ponytail. I rarely see academy players with ponytails, but yeah, CFST list positions. 4-star skill moves as well, very nice indeed, 60 rated, but low work rate is a bit of a disappointment for Reid. And oh, there was one more as well. Sorry, there was 5 youth players got promoted. Pierce Macdonald, 59 rated striker / centre forward, 6'2", 3-star, and quite aggressive and quite strong as well. Looks like he could be a good target man. So yeah, 5 youth players getting given pro deals there, because we needed some depth to this team. And I did go onto the loan list in the Premier League as well. No Dean Henderson on the loan list. So if we are going to get Dean back for a 3rd year here at Bramall Lane, it's going to have to be a permanent deal. We're going to have to spend quite a lot of money to bring Dean Henderson back if we are going to get him for season 2. Otherwise, Ben Foster, who I thought was going to be our backup this year, is going to be our number 1. But also went to the free agents pool as well, hoping to find a hidden gem and a diamond in the rough. And I did find 2 players that could be alright. Andrew Pele of France, a left mid, and also Marcus Vega, an Argentine striker as well. Spoiler alert, both of these players do end up signing for the club, and you'll see how they look in just a moment's time. But either way, I mean, seriously, I literally didn't know what to do at this point. You know, I was 2 days into the calendar, and normally in the first couple of days, I'm making signings, I'm pushing players out the door, but I had no idea what to do. Literally no idea. And then the final slap in the face, the biggest insult came here. I hit our financial objective, as you guys know. The short-term and the long-term objective got hit as well. So the board decided to give me a transfer budget increase, and as you can see, based on your performance last season, the budget savings you made, the board of directors decided to increase the club's transfer budget this year with £1 million. £1 million. That's what the board gave to us for a transfer budget increase. I mean, really, you might as well not have bothered. You might as well have taken 1 million away from us, because 1 million added basically does nothing whatsoever. Thanks very much, Chairman. I can imagine he turns up to training one morning in his new private jet after his 5-star all-inclusive trip to the Bahamas with his missus, and he comes in and he says, yeah, that £131 million we got last year in prize money, I'm going to give you an extra £1 million to your budget, mate. I'm being a good help here, aren't I? Jeez, that's absolutely nothing. So again, £17.5 million. All we've got to spend in season 2. Very little money available, as you see our player training drills here. Ollie Shaw is getting guess how many drills alongside Bogle and Ivan Toney as well. He's up to a 73 rated left back though, looks very good indeed. And we've got a loan offer here for one of our academy players who just promoted, Alfie Lee. Probably should have accepted this one really, but I rejected out of frustration, to be honest, because we had so many players on our transfer list, but no bids were coming in. We were a week into the transfer window. I needed to sell at least one of these players here, 1 or 2 of these players, to start signing some players, and no bids were coming in, but finally they did start coming in. Keane Bryan, this is a young 23-year-old centre-half, 66 rated. He was wanted by the Romanian side CFR Cluj, under his valuation, but again, he's one of those players that is on the transfer list and someone that we are looking to sort of push out the door just to get a few more pennies into our piggy bank and try and sign some players. So we're going to let him go. And also Thomas, who was wanted by the Belgian side here, KV McKellen, can never pronounce their name, 25-year-old winger who has no place in his team, mainly because A, he doesn't fit into the system, and B, simply put, isn't good enough enough. But also, final scout reports came back on Pele and Vega, the free agents, as I put Victor Moses on the shortlist as well. You might wonder why. It's because he was on the transfer list at Chelsea, but unfortunately, his wages are far too high for us to even consider. It'd be a good fit for us in the right wing-back role, but yeah, wages just far too high for us to consider. But also, I put in bids for Pele and Vega as well. Delegated the signings for the assistant manager to deal with, mainly so I wouldn't have to offer a sign-on bonus and give any more money out as Thomas gets sold here. And as you see, they both did indeed accept their deals. Pele comes in on a 5-year deal, as will Vega. And I got to say, Andrew Pele does look like a little hidden gem here. 68 rated 18-year-old, can play left mid and cam as well on a 5-year deal, only 3.8 grand a week as well. And I must say, I'm quite excited about him. So he becomes our first signing of the new season. A free transfer is our first signing of season 2. That says it all, really, doesn't it? And also a bid coming in for Tyler Smith, which he also decided to accept as well. So quite a few bids were now coming in for our players on the transfer list, which we needed, because whilst we were accepting bids that were under the valuation, we needed every single penny we could get. We couldn't afford to risk a club pulling out of negotiations when they'd already put a bid in. So Ender Stevens, by the way, also got sold as well. You might be wondering who was going to go between Stevens and Osborne. I did say in the last episode, with Shaw now being our starting left back at 17 years old, we've got Stevens, you've got Osborne. One of those two were going to get put on the transfer list. It was the 30-year-old in the end, and the Irishman is going to go to Argentina, to Nunez. Very unrealistic there, but it was the only bid I could get for him at the time, so I just decided to accept it. And also Regan Slater is going to go as well. We delegated a sale for this guy, and I think it was about £600,000, 62 rated 20-year-old, and we've got enough midfielders here. He doesn't look too bad actually for a young prospect, but we've got enough central midfielders here, and I'm planning to bring in 1 or 2 in this window as well if we can somehow raise the cash. So Slater's going to go, and I'm okay with that. And also following that, you can see that Smith does indeed get sold to another Deadwood player, leaves the club, and we also see Vega accepts a 5-year deal, just like Andrew Pele. Can't check his potential yet, as he's under the rating of 60, but Pele's potential is showing great potential. So nicely, we've got a little hidden gem there and a diamond in the rough. Good pickup on a free transfer, and that's why I always advise you guys to check the free agents pool every single season. But after the sale of Ender Stevens, he leaves to Nunez. We get about £3 million for it. We reject a bid for Jack O'Connell, and we take a look at our transfer budget one final time to end today's episode off. It's around £21.5 million to £22 million. We sold quite a few Deadwood players here with Sheffield United, but not much money has been added to our bank balance. We have still got a shoestring budget, realistically, compared to the other teams around us. Relatively speaking, it's still a very, very small budget, and if we are to sign some good quality players and improve this Sheffield United team, we'll have to spend wisely and make our pennies count. So in the next episode, we'll look to make some new signings with the team, spend that £22 million, and try and improve this team with a very low transfer budget. So that will in today's episode of Career Mode, guys. So a big thank you for watching. Hope you have enjoyed it, and if you did enjoy the season opener, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all, and I'll see you for the next episode very soon.